Hello, good morning, and welcome back. It's just a little bit after 10 o'clock, so we're going to give people a few more seconds, maybe another minute to kind of join us for part 2 of our Daisy and Brownie Outdoor Skills, Outdoor Basics series. For those of you that have not joined us prior, my name is Kelly Red Campbell. I'm the Outdoor Program Specialist for the Girl Scouts of Central Maryland, and I am the Camp Director for Camp Conowingo. So I love being outside. I'm so excited. When I woke up this morning, it was kind of gray and dreary. I'm sure some of you guys experienced that as well. And now the sun is out. It is shining. I almost wish, not almost, but I definitely wish I had on sunglasses, but just didn't make it in time. But again, welcome for those of you joining us for part 2 of our Outdoor Basic Skills series for our Daisies and our Brownies. We're just going to give people just a couple more seconds to tune in. For those of you that are already on, our first activity is actually going to be like a be prepared show and tell. So if you want to take like 30 seconds, maybe a minute, and just gather like 3 or 4 items that some of them you would take with you on a hike, and some of them you wouldn't take with you on a hike. And then we're going to talk about which items are which in just a second. So we're going to give people just about another 30 seconds to join us, / some of you to gather up some of those supplies. Oh, sorry, Morris says I'm sideways. Sorry, team. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to hold my thing now. Have it all set up. We'll just go like this. That works. Thanks, Maura. Always looking out for us. Is that better? All right, so a few more of you have joined us. I'm going to guess some of you have gotten some of those activities. So the first thing we're going to do is a be prepared show and tell. So what we're going to talk about in our last series, we talked a little bit about like hiking safety and things we might want to take with us. Donna, I hope I'm not sideways anymore. I did rotate my camera. Taz, can you tell, did Morris say I'm straight? Okay. All right. So also for those of you that are tuning in, let us know where you're viewing from. I see that Donna is tuning in from New Jersey, and they say hello. We would love to know where you guys are watching us from and tuning in to learn a little bit more about our outdoor basics, a few more outdoor skills. So again, this one is our second part in the Brownie Daisy series. And so this time, just as an overview, we're going to do a little be prepared show and tell, where we're going to talk about some items that we might want to take with us, might not want to take with us on a hike. We're going to go over our leave no trace principles. Some of you might have heard those before. And then we're also going to go over our trail signs, and we're going to go on a little hike together following some trails. For those of you that tuned in for part 1 of our series, our friend Taz laid out a nice trail for me. So we're going to try and remember our signs that we're going to talk about in a few minutes, and then we're going to take that trail with us. And then at the end of our daisies will have earned the Eco Trekker badge, and our brownies will have earned the hiker badge, as long as you've gone on a hike between our first part series and our second part series, and or the next time you go on a hike, then you'll have fully earned one of those badges. So I know that you guys are tuning in, you're saying hi. We've got Troop 103094. We've got somebody tuning in from Georgia. We've got Timonium troops, Troop 50051 and 50264. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. All right, so first thing up is our Be Prepared show and tell. Hello, Miss Emma. Thanks for watching. So I've gathered a few things around my house that we would want to take with us, or maybe we wouldn't want to take with us. So when I kind of hold up an item, I would love for you guys to either write yes or no in the comment section. Yes meaning you would take it with you on your hike. No meaning probably don't want to take it with us. All right. So let's start with we'll start a little easy. So here I've got my sunscreen, which we definitely should have applied this morning sitting out in the sun like this. So in the comments, just take a second, would I take this with me? So sunscreen on our hike, yes or no? Give you guys a second to type those answers in, think about it. This is SPF 50, which is really safe. So you guys are correct. So we would take sunscreen. Yep, Depp, you got it. So we would take sunscreen on our hike. So we 100% would take that with us. All right, let's start with, how about my water bottle? Would I want to take my water bottle with us on our hike? It does in fact have water in it. And then Kelly says yes, and I can say that, Kelly, you are correct. We would want to take our water bottle on our hike. What about my stuffed unicorn? Now, my stuffed unicorn is purple and fluffy, and he has his rainbow mane here, and might really enjoy my hike. But do I really want to take it with me on my journey? Probably not. Oh, Deb says yes again. So I would probably say no to my unicorn. However, Kimberly says yes always. Oh, there we go. Now we've got our nose coming in for our unicorn. Yeah, right. I wouldn't suggest taking our unicorn with us. He's just going to add a little extra weight, something that we got to take care of. Might also get dirty. We would hate for our unicorn to get dirty on our hike. So no unicorn on the hike. So we'll put the unicorn over there. What about a giant mug of coffee or tea or just anything? Would I want to take this big giant mug with me on my hike? I can tell you that it's pretty heavy, and right now there's nothing in it because I have my water bottle with my water. So you guys are right again. I definitely probably wouldn't want to take my giant mug with me. I would want to drink what's in my giant mug ahead of time and then transition over to water for my hike. So you guys are right. All right, how about something we made together last week, which is our sit-upon. Would I want to take my sit-upon on my hike? Now this one might be a little tricky. We'll see what you guys say about our sit-upon. We did leave both of our handles on. I know that was a big debate last time we tuned in together, but would I want my sit-upon with me on my hike? So we have one vote for yes, and I'll let you guys think about it for just a second while I try and stay hydrated and drink some water. Ooh, turn my splash guard around. Oh, somebody else is voting yes for our sit-upon. So for the sit-upon, oh, there's a no vote. So yeah, so I think the sit-upon is going to be hiker's choice, right? Depending on the type of hike that you're doing. So if we're going for a real long, like maybe a couple mile hike through the woods, and we know we're not stopping, we know we're not going to stay around, I might not take my sit-upon, but let's say we're going to go on a hike like around a lake or a pond, and at one point we're going to stop to maybe eat lunch or draw some nature photos or something like that, then I might take my sit-upon with me. So it's all going to depend on the type of hike that you're doing in terms of your sit-upon. So those are just a few items that I just kind of gathered as I was kind of coming outside. So you guys, I hope now have a slightly better idea of for our Be Prepared show and tell, what we do or maybe we don't want to take with us on a hike. So the next thing that we're going to talk about together is the 7 principles of leave no trace. So I'm sure this is not the first time that you all have heard about this, and if it is, awesome, because the leave no trace principles are something that we should all live by. We should try and implement them almost in every part of our lives, not just when we go hiking. So I made us a few little flashcards this morning. I just found these online, just because I'm a visual learner, and so I could sit here and I could tell you the 7 principles of leave no trace, but you might not remember them because you're a visual learner like me instead of an auditory learner like other people, and that's okay. We all learn differently. So our first principle of leave no trace, remember there are 7 of them, is to plan ahead and be prepared. So I have our little plan ahead, be prepared sign here. Now, what exactly does that mean, to plan ahead and be prepared? Well, what it means is we want to do a little research before we go. Are there already paths? Are there maps that we could look at before we go? What if we're going hiking in a place that doesn't have any drinkable water? So then we might need to take extra. So we just want to plan ahead and be prepared for the type of adventure that we're going to go on. Now, this doesn't necessarily apply just to hiking, right? Let's take this principle for school, right? So we want to plan ahead and be prepared. Did we do our homework for the next day? Do we have all of our books to carry with us? Do we have our lunch or whatever it is that we're going to be eating or drinking drinking at school. So plan ahead and be prepared is the first principle of Leave No Trace, and it really can go with almost anything in our lives, right? All right, so after number 1 comes number 2, and as you would know it, my sheets are out of order, but that's okay. So number 2 is to travel and camp on durable surfaces. So you'll notice here that we've got our camper van and our tent. And so what this means is that we don't want to be just setting up our tents and our campsites all willy-nilly and just anywhere. We want to make sure that it's going to be in a location that's going to, the cards are backwards. Oh, I don't know if I can fix that for you guys. Sorry. That's the way I printed them. So we want to make sure that we're just camping on top of a surface that's going to hold us up and that we're not damaging any of the wildlife that's around us. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in another principle. So number 1, we're going to plan, we're going to know before we go. So we're going to plan and we're going to prepare. Number 2 is to travel and camp on durable surfaces. And so the other thing about that is if we're on a hike or a walk and we see something off in the distance that we would love to go over and look at, we're not actually we shouldn't leave the path because we're not going to travel on a path that's not durable. And so we don't want to create any paths that aren't already there, right? Because then that's damaging to the plants and the wildlife and everything else that's around. So we're going to travel and camp on durable surfaces. So I know that a couple of you are telling me that my cards are backwards, and I do apologize for that, and I will post them in the comments section once we're done with our video today, just for those of you that would like to review them again. But unfortunately, I didn't think about that, and well, can you see through the page? I don't know, does that make it better if I hold it up backwards? So this one, the third principle is to dispose of waste properly. In other words, pack it in, pack it out, right? So you can see here our friend is throwing trash because if we pack it in, which is a little backpack here that says in and a little backpack that says out. So if I take something with me on my hike, I need to take it away with me on my hike. Now, some of you might be thinking, Red, what if I'm eating a fruit? Oh, awesome. Deb says it does work if I hold it up backwards for me. Okay, so what if I'm eating a fruit? Let's say an apple on my hike, because I remember last time we talked that we need to eat snacks to keep our energy level up. And if I'm eating an apple and what do I do with it? Can I just throw it into the woods because it'll disintegrate and become part of nature? And unfortunately, you shouldn't do that, right? Then you're not living up to the third principle of leave no trace, of pack it in, pack it out. So if I carry an apple in, I have to carry the trash out with me so that I'm not teaching animals that they'll be fed by humans, because they need to maintain their own habitats and making sure that they're getting their own food. So dispose of waste properly. In other words, pack it in, pack it out. All right. So number 4, I'm gonna pause for just a second. So number 4 is to take only pictures and leave only footprints. So let me see if I can get that close enough for you guys so you can see that. I don't know if it'll be as helpful. But it's also kind of self-explanatory. So we're going to take only pictures and leave only footprints. Now, one of the things is we're out in nature, we're enjoying the scenery, and we come across this amazing purple, sparkly, shiny, glitter-filled rock, and it is just the most perfect rock that would look so good on our nightstand next to our bed. Can I take it with me? And as much as we want to say yes because of how perfect we know it would look in our bedroom, the answer has to be no, right? We can take a picture of it, we can draw a picture of it, we can remember it as a mental picture in case we don't have a camera or a phone or anything that could take a picture. Right, so we're just going to take pictures and we're going to leave footprints. So we're not going to take anything from nature that we're just going to leave it all behind, because then the next person that comes behind us hiking, then they would miss out on that really awesome purple, glittery, sparkle, glitter, full, all those things on those rocks. So Deb's right, don't take the purple rock with you. You're going to leave it behind for the next hiker to see and really enjoy, okay? So that was leave no trace principle number 4. So take only pictures, leave only footprints. Okay. Number 5 is we want to minimize our campfire impacts. Okay. So sometimes we want to have these really big fires, also known as bonfires, okay? And while bonfires are really cool, they can also be very damaging to the earth. Okay, while we can't see it, we have trees, the roots extend really far out past just their base, right? And if we have a huge campfire that heats the earth, it can actually boil and damage the roots of the tree from underneath our campfire, even though there might not necessarily be a tree right next to our campfire. So we want to minimize our impact, right? We really only want to have a fire that's big enough for whatever it is that we need to do on it. So is it for warmth? Then you have one type of campfire. Are we cooking on it? Then it's a slightly different type of campfire. And spoiler alert, if you tune in for part 3 of our series, we're actually going to do outdoor cooking, where we're going to dive deep into our campfire types and cooking over our campfires. But, you know, that's next time. So step number 5, or principle number 5, is to minimize our campfire impacts. Now, something else that's really important about this principle specifically is we don't just want to have fires anywhere, right? Because if you just have a fire in your backyard or in the street or just anywhere else, you're really going to damage the earth that's around it, and it could spread, right? Because there's nothing really containing it. It's just there. So we want to really try and have our campfires inside already established fire rings, which are just circles of rocks that you might find at different campgrounds or along different like state parks on their trails. Or you can have a fire in a fireplace, like inside a home, or for like in my yard for next week, what we're going to use is we have an outdoor fire pit. And again, that's an already established place for me to build my fire, and we'll build it of appropriate size to make sure that we're minimizing our impact. Okay, so that was principle number 5. So only 2 more to go, and then we're going to move on to trail signs, and then we're going to go on our hike together. So I hope you guys will join me for that. So step number 6 is to respect wildlife. So I don't know if you guys can see, but this is a picture of a young child petting what appears to be a cheetah or a leopard. And that's something that we don't actually want to do, right? If wildlife is out there, then we want to leave it out there, right? We want to respect its space because normally, and this might seem self-explanatory, but when wildlife comes into our home, think spiders or insects or maybe even the occasional mouse, we get all upset that because it shouldn't be in our house, and we don't want it to be in our house, and we want to take it outside and put it back in its habitat. It's kind of the same principle. When we're out in nature, we're in their house, right? And so we don't want to disturb them in their house, just like we don't want them to disturb us in our house. So we're going to respect wildlife. A good rule of thumb is if you can hold your thumb out, and if the animal fits behind it, meaning your thumb covers it up in the distance, then you know you're far enough away. But if you can see any of that animal, like on the outside of your thumb, that means that you need to back up. So remember, by respecting wildlife, we have our rule of thumb. And so when we hold our thumb out, if I can't see the animal because my thumb is covering it up, then I know I'm a far enough distance away, and I'm actually respecting that wildlife's space. Okay, so wildlife we're going to leave out in the nature and in its own habitat, in its own home, and we're not going to do lots of disturbance for it. Okay. And then number 7 is going to be an easy peasy one for all of our Girl Scouts because it's one of our core Girl Scout principles. Okay. Number 7 is to, is to be considerate of other visitors, right? So this is the picture of somebody opening the door for somebody else. Okay. So when we're hiking, and I know that one of our core principles of Girl Scouts is we're always going to leave a place better than we found it, and we're going to treat others the way that we would want to be treated. And so principle number 7 of Leave No Trace is one that I know that you guys practice every day, probably, and we want to be considerate. So if we're out on a hike, we don't want to be running and screaming and playing like all these crazy games, because then we're not really respecting other visitors and their time to appreciate nature. Okay, so number 7 is to be considerate of other visitors. So we'll just go through them again quickly. And again, I know that at the start we were backwards, and then we slightly figured it out. But I will post these in the comments just in case you want to use them or reference them for future reference. So leave no trace number one, excuse me, is to plan ahead and be prepared. So know before you go. Okay. Number 2 is to travel and camp on durable surfaces. So that's when we're going to hike on our well-established paths. Number 3 is to pack it in, pack it out, or dispose of waste properly. So again, whatever we take with us, even those fruit cores or those fruit peels, we're going to take them back out with us. And then number 4 is to take only pictures, leave only footprints. Remember, we're going to take a picture of our sparkly purple rock and leave it there for the next hiker to see. Number 5 is to minimize our campfire impacts. We talked about we don't want to do huge bonfires. It's bad for the earth, and it's not really conducive for cooking or for heating purposes or anything of that nature. And then number 7 is to be considerate of other visitors. Treat others the way you want to be treated. So we're not going to be running and screaming and playing lots of crazy games on our hikes unless we're in a field, like we get to a location where running around is okay, like in a big giant park, like that's okay, and people wouldn't be there if they didn't think that that's what was going to happen. All right, so take a drink of water because hydration is the key. I'm gonna zoom in quickly. Oh, Kimberly never heard the thumb. I learned that a couple years ago from another outdoor trainer. It's actually a really good one. Oh, Deb says, what if the animal is hurt? Then should you go and approach it? So you shouldn't go and approach it regardless. Health department or like DNR, and let them know what kind of animal it is, and then they have the training to come and pick it up appropriately and take it to the appropriate places, whereas pick it up. So again, even if the animal's injured, we're just going to leave it be for a little bit. And then somebody else asked, when is next time? Because I gave you guys that little teaser about tuning in for outdoor cooking. And so it's going to be next Wednesday because our outdoor series just so happened to be on Wednesday. So we did part 1 last Wednesday. We're doing part 2 today. And we'll do part 3, which is going to be outdoor cooking, which is going to be kind of one-stop shop for all of our grade levels. It's going to be in the afternoon, but I'm not 100% sure of the time yet. So just stay tuned on our Facebook page and we'll get those up for you. Okay? All right. Okie dokie. So the next thing we're going to go over is our trail signs. And these are going to be, if you see these signs on a trail, hopefully then you'll know what they mean. Now there's a couple different ways to know if you're on the right trail or if you're going the right direction. One of the most common and most well-known are called trail markers or blazes. And if you look out on a tree and it has a paint strip on it, hopefully at the start of the trail it'll have had that same color so that you know you're on the right trail. So like at Conowingo, we have the Allstate Nature Trail that goes through camp, and currently its current blaze color is blue. It's also been white in the past. So when you start that trail, you'll see blue markings all the way through, and then so that you know you're still on the path, right? So that's a trail marker or a trail blaze, depending on who you ask. So that's just a color. It might be on a tree, it might be on a post in the ground, but it's just something to keep a lookout for to make sure we're on the right path. Okay, and then we're just going to go over a couple other that are probably a little less well known. And again, I think that these are going to be backwards, so I'm going to hold them up for you so that they're backwards to me. Okay, which means that you'll see what they're called, but it's okay. All right, so note to self, or note for all of you guys, I'm not an artist, never have claimed to be one, and so normally you would see these in sticks and rocks. So on my paper of my drawings, if it's a straight line, we're all going to use our imagination and we're going to think stick. Okay, so think about it right now. So if Red drew a straight line, it's a stick. Got it. Okay, it's in my brain. Now we're going to think that if it's a circle, big or little, it's a rock. Okay, so again, we're going to use our imagination. If Red drew a circle, colored in, small, not colored in, big, doesn't matter, we're going to think it's a rock. Okay, great. All right, now we're all on the same page. So first up, we have our sticks that point in a direction. We have our rocks, our small rocks over here that also point in a direction. And then we have our big rocks with a little rock on the right-hand side of it, which I hope is the right-hand side. Maybe I'll turn my camera around. Oh, okay. We're going to do it this way for a little bit. Okay, team? All right. So if we have small rocks, also Kimberly says, is this recorded? It is going to be recorded, yes. As soon as we're done, I'll post this to the GSCM Facebook page, and then you guys will be able to view it there for later purposes in case you got to come in, come out, and go. So, yes, Kimberly, to answer your question. All right, so over here we have small rocks, get it, that are in an arrow shape, okay? So this is the same as this, so think about 3 sticks. So I've got my long stick making an arrow, and then over here we have 2 larger stones and a smaller stone on the right hand side, which is key. All right, so all 3 of these methods mean that we are going to turn right. All right, now if this small rock was on the other side and our arrow was facing the other direction, and same for this arrow, it's the same thing. It would just mean that we're going to turn left. Okay, so this is our turn right. Now we need to remember this, because remember, our friend Taz from last time created a path for us to go on, so we're going to try and follow it. All right, now again, if I had 2 long sticks, or if I came across rather 2 long sticks, and then, oh no, my signs are going, and then an arrow and an arrow, this means to turn around and go back. Okay, so let's say that I was hiking and the path ended at a creek, right? But maybe I was wondering whether or not we could go across the creek and the path would continue. But if I saw this sign at the edge of the creek, or even maybe a little before it, then I would know that the trail doesn't continue across the creek and I should turn around and I should go back. Okay, so again, these are all sticks. Okay, and so that's how we know whether or not we need to turn around and go back. So that's what this one means. Okay. All right, now this one I'm hoping maybe we don't ever have to see or use, but we're going to go over it anyway. So this one again is a big Y and then 2 little arrows at the top, right? If we can see that. So this actually means to split our group. And I was really racking my brain with when I might see this on a trail or why I would want to split my group, because I would never recommend that. And in all honesty, I haven't really come up with something except maybe like if you're about to go over like a wet area and they built 2 small bridges instead of 1 big bridge, and so you want to split your troop into the 2 smaller bridges, or something along those lines. Maybe the path really shrinks, or you know, like maybe on a highway when you have to kind of go around a median or something of that nature, kind of like that in the path, like maybe there's a big rock in the middle and you got to go around, and it would just be easier. But if we ever run into this sign, I never have, but maybe you will, or maybe you have, and now you know it means we're supposed to split our group. Okay? All right, so next up, we have what looks like a Lego block with an arrow, but remember, these are rocks and these are sticks. Okay? And so in our sign here, how many rocks do we have? Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and an arrow that points to the right. Okay, so this one is a little tricky, but this actually means that we want to take 8 steps to the right before continuing. Now, again, if my arrow was on this side, then I would want to take 8 steps to the left. If I only had 6 rocks, then I would only take 6 steps to the left. So this one can be used in a lot of different ways, but it just means however many rocks are inside your sticks, and with your arrow on either side, that's how many steps you're going to take to that direction. All right? So again, however many steps in that direction. Ooh, I just had 2 bumblebees fly through. Don't know if you guys saw them. Okay, now this one is, again, a bunch of little rocks in a circle with another rock in the middle, and that signifies the end of the trail. Now, I know that a lot of trails are loops, and so you might not ever actually see this, like the trail kind of, you start at this rock and you go all the way, and then you finish at the same one, right? But let's say it's not a loop and you're supposed to hike in and then turn around and hike back. So you might see this, or remember, we could see our other, our turn around and go back sign. So there's kind of two options, right? So this just signifies kind of the end of the trail. So this one, again, excuse my artwork, but is two big rocks stacked on top of each other, and they just simply mean to keep going, right? So two big rocks, one on top of the other. We're just going to keep going whatever direction that we were already going. We're going to stick with it. And then last, but certainly not least, we have our danger or our safe, like beware, right? So that's 3 sticks in a triangle, or 2 larger rocks and then a medium-sized rock on top. So again, stacked together on a trail. This maybe there's a hole in the trail, or the trail gets a lot narrower, or maybe the trail's been washed out because of lots of rain or a mudslide or something along those lines. So this would mean that you just need to be extra cautious because it's about to get maybe a little more dangerous than our initial hike we anticipated. All right, so again, those were our trail signs. We want to try and remember them. I'll also post, not my artwork, obviously, but I have an actual PDF version of all of our trail signs, and I'll post that in the comments as well, just so that we're all have all of our resources to make sure in case we need to review anything before we say that our badge is fully complete. So I'm going to turn this around again, I think, just so you can see me for a second. All right, so now we've successfully packed our bags. We talked about all of our items we're going to take with us. We have learned leave no trace, where we're going to hike on our durable surfaces and all the other principles. And now we've learned our trail signs, and so it's time to go on the hike. Okay, so similar to like our show and tell, would love some help and participation from you guys to help me remember what all of our trail signs mean. Okay, so I'm going to stand up here in just a second, and we're going to go on our hike together in my backyard and a little bit in my side yard. Okay, and then we're going to look at our trail signs on the ground. We're going to hope the trail signs are on the ground, and then we're going to determine which direction we should be going. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and get up. I'm going to drink one more drink of water because hydration is key. I'm going to try and turn my camera around again. Okay. All right. So this one's pretty obvious, I hope, at the start of our trail. Thanks, Taz, for making it nice and simple for us. Okay. So we're going to start our journey by going straight along our path here. Okay, and then boop. All right, so we have our first trail marker, our first trail sign, which is a stick with it pointing to an arrow. So I'm gonna wait here for just a second and see, should we be going that way? Maybe we should be going to the right or to the that way. Which way do we think we should follow our arrow? Deb says forward. Forward in the direction of our arrow. All right, we're gonna go for it. We're going for it. We're going for it. All right, here we go. Ooh, we're walking towards some shade. How nice. Oh, here's our next one, which is good because there's a wall here. All right, so I think similar to our one we just passed by, I think we want to go in that direction, so we're gonna go right, because left, there's no trail markers that way. I just showed you we can't go forward because there's a fence there, not a wall, a fence. So we're gonna go to the right. All right, so now we're hiking in the shade a little bit. Okay. Oh, we came to a Lego block. I would imagine when Taz set this up that part of it wasn't in the shade. So let's get a little closer. Okay, how many rocks do we have? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know if you guys can see them, and then 6 over here. Okay, and we don't have an arrow on this side or that way, but there is one over here. So similar to our Lego block that we saw in our paper where it was 8 steps, this time 6 rocks, so we're gonna go 6 steps to the right. Okay, so let's stand back up. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoa, handy dandy, there it is. Okay, so I'm guessing that now we're gonna go in this direction. Oh, now you can see me, kind of. All right, so now we'll walk along our path. Boom, another arrow that in my shadow you guys can't see, so I'll move to the side a little bit. Okay, all right, so it looks like we're gonna turn again. So thanks for going on this journey with me and for helping out and participating. All right, so we're gonna go along our path nice and slow because we don't want to trip. Oh, came across another Lego block. This time it's a little easier because there's only 2. So we got 1, 2, and they're much bigger. Our arrow's a little harder to see. Oh, there it is. Again, it's on the right. We like a lot of right-hand turns in this yard, apparently, or this journey. So, get ready. 1, 2. Ugh, right in the camera view. So we're gonna go forward. Okay, forward. Excuse all the dog toys that are on this journey. Okay, don't know what I'm doing now. Oh wait, there's 2 rocks stacked on top of each other. Now 3 rocks meant danger, so I think 2 rocks. Does anybody remember what 2 rocks means? I'll give you a second before I tell you. 2 rocks, 1 stacked on top of another one. These ones might have been hard to find if this was in the real nature, because they're a little. All right. Maybe nobody remembers. Oh no, Kelly says we don't remember. That's okay, everybody. 2 rocks stacked on top of each other means that we want to just keep going. So as Dory would say, we want to just keep swimming. But in this instance, we're just going to keep going. All right, so let's stand back up. We're going to keep going, which is good to know since now I've reached a door, but my most recent thing said to keep going. So we'll keep going. 2 more rocks. All right, so it's the same. These ones are much bigger though. So again, 2 rocks, 1 stacked on top of each other. We're just gonna keep going. All right, gonna hike. Do we see anything else? Show you my my welcome cow. Okay, my dog just got really excited at the front. Oh no! All right, here's our next. Does anybody remember what this one means? So we have a ring of rocks with 1 rock in the middle. Anybody remember? I give you a second or 2 to type it out. All right. Oh, thanks, Kelly, for letting us know that we don't remember again. Oh no, Deb got it right. It does in fact mean the end of our trail, but luckily for me, the end of our trail also means a nice glass of cold water and a snack. Because remember, hydration is key, and we want to make sure we're keeping our energy up. So if this was a real trail and I wanted to go far in the distance, water and snacks are important. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in rather for part 2 of our outdoor basics, outdoor skills journey for our daisies and our brownies. And remember, if you have already been on a hike since part 1, or you plan to go on a hike soon to enjoy this beautiful weather, then it means that if you are a daisy, you've earned the Eco Trekker badge, and if you're a brownie, you've earned our hiker badge. And then also, don't forget to tune in next Wednesday, to cook on an open fire where, Deb, maybe we will make a s'more. Who knows what we're gonna cook on our fire. We're gonna go over all the different cooking methods, a bunch of different types of fires, and it should be a lot of fun. We're gonna do it in the afternoon. Hopefully we'll luck out and it'll be just as beautiful as it is today. So again, thank you so much. Hope you guys are staying safe. Don't forget to wash your hands and don't go stir crazy.